episode of 8th Arrow Whispering. And on tonight's episode, we are going to be diving back into some NFL, and we are going to review the games from last week and also do our predictions for the games this week. Now, for the games last week, I got all but one right. So, not to brag, but I had a pretty good week. Just kidding. I actually didn't have a good week because one of the games I predicted, I was hoping would go the other way, which is my Carolina Panthers. And although we gave it a fantastic effort, and we were right there at the end, we did come up short to the Rams and lost 31-34. But my goodness, guys, what an amazing game that was. Definitely a heartbreaker. I definitely sat on the couch in silence for a good 30-45 minutes after the game had ended and just existed. And up until that point, I was going ballistic. My wife and I live in an apartment. I'm pretty sure all my neighbors could hear me. So, I do apologize to them for the noise. But, man, what a great game. Unfortunately, our defense couldn't get it done in the end. But I was encouraged by it. But we'll have more on that later. I do want to do an end of season review of the Carolina Panthers and just my overall thoughts moving forward and whatnot. So I will be making that in the near future. But for tonight, we will just stick to these games and this game in particular. But man, yeah, like I said, what a great game. Bryce Young, he's just got that it factor. I feel like he's just got that clutch it factor, and I know he doesn't have the strongest arm in the league, and he's lacking on some things, but when it comes to mentals of the game and the smarts, he's got it, and he grew a lot this season in his decisiveness. I think I saw his end of the year stats. He had like 30. It was either upper 20s or 30 something touchdowns and only 12 interceptions, which that's progress, I feel like. So we'll do a deeper dive into that later on. But yeah, man, what an exciting game. And the Rams got done in the end. Matthew Stafford and company just drove it down the field and, took care of business when they needed to. And we did not. So the Rams got that win and are moving on to the next round. Then we have the Eagles versus 49ers, and I didn't watch much of this game. But the 49ers won. I did pick the Eagles to win that one, so this is the one game I got wrong. And like I said, I didn't really watch much of this game, but it seemed to be a close game. And maybe I should have gone and looked at the highlights, but yeah, the 49ers move on. George Kittle did what tear his Achilles, so that's a big loss for them. So they're gonna have a tough matchup going up against Seattle. Yeah, that team, man, they are just banged up, both defensively and offensively. So it's gonna be tough for them moving forward, but they proved me wrong this week, so we'll see. Then you have the Bears and Packers, and I thought this game was the Packers. I was watching it as I was doing a live stream, and I think Caleb Williams had already thrown 2 interceptions, and the Packers were up 21-3, I want to say. So I was thinking, yeah, they had it in the bag. And then I hopped online and was playing some games with my buds, and then the Bears started slowly coming back, and before you knew it, they had won the game, and that was very surprising to me. I'm surprised Matt LaFleur still has a job. I thought he'd be gone. At least that was all the rumblings before this. Like, like this was his make it or break it. And so, anyway, the Bears brought it back, and Caleb Williams turned it around. And was able to beat the Packers. So, and I did choose the Bears to win that one, so they move on, and they will be facing the Rams. Then we have the Texans and Steelers. I watched some of this game. It was pretty boring at the beginning, honestly, which I kind of thought it would be. It was very defensive heavy. Neither offense was getting it going until it was like the third quarter. The Texans sort of took over. They got that defensive touchdown and then just steamrolled the Steelers from that point on. So they are moving on. Will it be Aaron Rodgers' last game? I could see it. I was thinking he could return, but now that Mike Tomlin is retired, I don't think a coach is going to come in there and want to start with Aaron Rodgers. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to want to start with a new coach. So I could see him hanging it up. I don't see any other team that he'd go and be able to really like play for. I don't know. I just don't see it. It seemed like he was a good fit with Mike Tomlin, but with Mike Tomlin out now, I think he'll hang it up. But I think he's going out on a better note than he would have if he retired as a Jet. So I think he gave it a good shot, and yeah, that Texans defense, man, they're still, like I said, they're for real. They are a tough defense. So yeah. Then we have the Bills and Jaguars, and the Bills were, man, they started off rough. And I was questioning it for a bit there. I was thinking Jaguars were gonna pull it out, but like I said last week, Josh Allen, I thought he was gonna be able to do enough to get the Bills over the hump that is the Jaguars, and outduel them, and he did. He did, and he got the job done. So they beat the Jaguars, and moving on. And Jaguars, they played good. Like I said last week, I'm curious to see if they are going to be next year the Washington Commanders of this year, where the Washington Commanders went on a run last year. They looked awesome, and this year just plagued by injuries, and just couldn't put it together, and just had sort of not a wasted, but just a lost season. I'll be curious if that's the Jaguars next year. We'll see. And then we have the Patriots and Chargers. Again, this one I didn't watch too much of, just because I had to work the next day, so I didn't want to stay up for the whole thing. But I had to feel like I picked the Patriots. I didn't think, I was talking to my cousin before the game who is a Patriots fan. He was saying that the Patriots were underdogs, or people were picking the Chargers over them. I didn't see that, and I don't know how people could have done that. I know people were saying the Patriots had a soft schedule, but I mean the Chargers just, I didn't think they were much, and so I figured the Patriots would handle them, and they did. So yeah, Drake May, he's awesome. I do like Drake May. So we'll see what they do moving forward. Sorry, that moves us on to the divisional round, where we have the Broncos versus Bills, Patriots versus Texans, Bears versus Rams, and the Seahawks versus 49ers. So we started over on the right last week, so we'll start over on the left this week, and it is 49ers versus Seahawks. Now, there are some injuries to note in this one. Obviously, like we said, George Kittle, he's out, torn Achilles. They're going to be missing him. Seahawks, Sam Darnold is questionable. Now, I saw a report today that said the coach is feeling very optimistic that he will play. So I think Sam Darnold will play. would be a huge, I think, blow to the Seahawks if he does not play. But I'm assuming he's going to play. And with that being said, I will give this one to the Seahawks. I'm going to pick the Seahawks to win. I think their defense could very well be the best defense in the league, better than the Texans and Broncos. And although the 49ers do have Christian McCaffrey, I just don't think they have enough offensive firepower to get it done against the Seahawks. And I think Sam Darnold can do enough to get the Seahawks there. So I'm giving this one to the Seattle Seahawks to move on to the conference championship. Alright, moving on. The Rams versus Bears. I think this will be a good game. Bears, they started off slow last week, but they were able to put it together and come back against Green Bay. But I think the Rams are a better team than Green Bay. I don't think they'll be as forgiving as Green Bay was, although they did let, my Carolina Panthers come back. However, I don't think they'll do that again, and I think they'll clean up from last week and be more sharp. And I think they'll take this game against the Bears. Now, this is in Chicago, and I saw something that said this is supposed to be could very well be one of the coldest games in NFL history, so that could definitely affect the Rams because they are not used to the cold weather games. So that advantage does go to the Bears. Do I want to take the Bears? I kind of want to take the Bears, man. With that cold weather. Alright, I'm gonna take the Rams. And say Rams Seahawks. I think the Rams will clean up from the mistakes they made last week. They had a lot of penalties and just a lot of miscues that I don't think will happen again. But weather could really affect this, so that could be tough. But I'll take the the Rams' explosive offense and experience over the Bears. So I do think it'll be close, though. So I have the Seahawks winning and the Rams winning. So I have the Rams versus Seahawks in the conference championship. And then moving over here, we have the Bills versus Broncos. I will be cheering for the Bills. I want the Bills to win. However, I think Josh Allen and his heroics was good enough to get it done versus the Jaguars. However, the Broncos defense is a whole nother beast. It's going to be really tough for the Bills, and now without Gabe Davis, and are they without Khalil Shakir? I don't know. I can't remember, but they're down to their offensive weapon. I saw they elevated Curtis Samuel, so that should help. But yeah, I don't see it happening now. If for the Bills to win, Bo Nix has to have a really bad game, which has happened before. Bo Nix has not been consistent, and that's what will be the Broncos' downfall. The Broncos, like the Texans, have the defense to win the Super Bowl, and the Seahawks. What will be their downfall is their quarterback play. Sam Darnold, C.J. Stroud, and Bo Nix, if they can play consistent, they all have a real shot at winning this thing. And I think Bo Nix will be able to do enough to get the job done. I don't think he's going to win the game for them. I think it's going to come down to their defense. So I will take the Broncos, although I'm cheering for the Bills. I think their defense will be too much for the Bills, and Josh Allen's depleted offense right now. So yeah, and then moving over here, the Texans Now I saw today that Nico Collins will not be playing. He did not clear concussion protocol, so that is a big loss for the Texans. And the Patriots, Christian Gonzalez did clear, so he is good to go and will be playing. So I will be taking the Patriots over the Texans. I think the Patriots, even with Nico Collins playing, I would still take the Patriots. I don't think that would change my mind on who I'm picking here. I think the Patriots are a really good team, and I think they will get it done against the Texans. And I don't think this one will be close. I think the Patriots will handle the Texans. But that defense. Well, no, let me take that back. The defense is good enough to keep it close, so it will be a close game. But I do think the Patriots will win. I don't think the Texans' offense is going to be able to get it done. So we will see my prediction is a Broncos-Patriots conference championship with a Seahawks and Rams conference championship. So that's what we have. Man, I hope the Bills win, though. I hope they win. Then you get the Stephon Diggs versus the Bills in a conference championship. That'd be fun. But yeah, these are my predictions. So I have the Broncos beating the Bills, Patriots beating the Texans, Rams beating the Bears, Seahawks beating the 49ers. So yeah, we'll see, guys. We'll check back next week and do another little review / prediction for our conference championship. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the games this weekend. Y'all take care. Let me know down in the comments who you think's gonna win and who you're rooting for. And until next time, you guys take care. See you later, guys.